Let's go do this podcast. What's going on, Star Wars fans?
Hello there.
We are here in Boston live. I have two people with me. You guys know Mike, and then we have a special co-host with us. Thalia is here from Astrology Jedi. So thank you guys, everybody, for being here. Nick is still in Nashville, so he's there with us as well. Unfortunately, Derek's working, but thank you guys for coming on so early. We know the UK, you guys love this time because it's a lot earlier for you guys. When we do the later one, it's very early in the morning for you guys. So thank everybody for being here. So I just wanted to, we already introduced everybody. How are you, Michael?
I'm doing great. We got a pretty big thing happening tomorrow.
Yes, we do. It's some movie or something.
Yeah, first Star Wars movie in 6.5 years.
Yeah.
That's pretty exciting. We'll give it over to our nice guest here to introduce.
Yes.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah,
please?
absolutely. I'm Thalia, the Astrology Jedi. I talk about astrology and Star Wars, but I'm excited to have everybody in Boston today because this is where I'm from. This is where I am. So thank you so much for having me on, and thanks for making it local. And I hope you enjoy your time in the city. I know that you're from, right outside of Boston, but Ron, it's great to have you here too.
Yeah, it was. Thank you. It was a little hectic. Traffic is a little crazy here, like it is in Nashville and Atlanta, and so I was sorry that we started a little bit late. But we are here, and we're going to talk predictions. We're going to have mic drop, and we're going to do a Q&A. So, and some other fun things. I know you talked a little bit about it yesterday. Some of the percentages that have come out for the critics, unfortunately, but it's not a 13 or a 19, so that's a good thing.
No accolades,
right? It's no accolades.
Yeah.
So, but that's a good thing. Nick, sorry, we forgot about you. How are you, buddy?
Hey, I'm good. I'm good over here.
Good.
You can still see me.
Nick's gonna we really can't see the comments today, so Nick's gonna sort of monitor the comments.
Yeah.
That intro that we had today was done by Nick. He did that, so that was pretty awesome. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. We thought it was pretty cool. So I think what we're going to do first is we're just going to go in and get into some predictions for this Mandalorian and Grogu movie that drops tomorrow, and that's why we're all here in Boston, so that's pretty fun. And Nick will be watching it in Nashville, but he'll be here in spirit, I know for sure.
Yeah.
So, do you want to start off with the predictions? What you're thinking?
Yeah, well, thankfully we have a great guest on today that agrees with me that Din Djarin's going to die. But obviously the big one being Din Djarin's death would be my biggest prediction of all. But we've gotten a bunch of trailers, at least in the last week or so, with a lot of Stinky the Hutt, with a lot of Rada, which is pretty great because it's the first time we're seeing him in, 15 years or something crazy like that. So seeing a ripped Hutt fighting people is pretty awesome. So I still got a pretty crazy feeling he might be in like more than 50% of this movie, even though he's in like a few clips of trailers. I think we've gotten the one image of him on the Adelphi base. Like, I think he's going to play a way bigger role in this movie than we think, especially because they got Jeremy Allen White to voice a Hutt.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's a big grab.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
a big grab.
Yeah, you don't just get that for nothing.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah. But you think Din Djarin's gonna
I
die?
do. I don't think he's going to make it out of this alive. Although I have to say, we're all coming out of the really dark period that was the season 1 finale of Maul Shadow Lord, where I did think no one was going to come out of that alive, and I was pretty close there. So I don't know. Maybe I'm being too negative because we just saw everyone die in Shadow Lord.
Oh, you're doing great.
Yeah, I don't think Din's going to make it. I do want to say I was talking to another creator last week, and this is a really out there prediction. But once he said it, it was Imperial Remnant podcast. I can't take credit for it. He said Din is going to die, but Grogu is going to use the Force and bring him back, like a little Rey Kylo. And I was like, whoa, I had never thought of that, and I like the idea of that, but it's not my idea, so I can't. But still,
that could definitely, because he has the healing power.
Yes,
and we've seen it, and it was so kind of criticized that I think this would be a nice way for Disney to bring it in Star Wars, to bring it back, and be like, have people warm up to it a little bit.
Yeah, well, that's what I've always said is Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau with The Mandalorian have been fixing things that have been problems with the sequel trilogy for so long, and that would actually help that too. Well, Nick always mentions it too. Grogu uses the Force healing like a week before Rey does in The Rise of Skywalker or something like that. So it's one thing right after the next. But doesn't Kylo Ren die after he revives Rey?
Yeah.
Well, we talked about this too, but Kylo was in pretty bad shape
True.
when that happened.
He just fall down a cliff.
Yeah, he was pretty banged up, and also Grogu's, I think, like a lot younger and more full of life maybe than Kylo was or Ben was.
Technically he's older, but yeah.
Yeah. I think it would be catastrophic if they kill Grogu in this movie. I don't think that's going to happen.
Oh, no way.
So I just they'll find a way around it, I think.
I think I saw something today that was like 15 million Grogu something or others were sold since he was created 5 years ago. Yeah. There's no way he's going anywhere.
Yeah.
He's got 900 years left ahead of him.
Yeah.
But Din Djarin, I agree with you because he's had so much time on screen already. He's got 3 seasons of a show and now he's getting a movie. Like, characters have had way less screen time than this guy. So I think it's as many. My one concern with the theory now is that so many people have seen the movie, and I know this happens with every movie ever, but critics have seen it, a ton of influencers have seen it, and none of them have spoiled it. I know they probably sign NDAs and stuff, but none of them have spoiled it. Like, it seems kind of crazy to think that many people can keep their mouths shut.
I had that thought too.
Yes, because I read through 1,000,001 reviews yesterday because that's when all the reviews came out.
Yeah.
It's currently sitting on 61, which is low, but it's not the lowest Star Wars movie ever. It's still higher than The Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. So if you're a prequel fan, it's still better than the prequels. But I read through a ton of reviews and nobody really mentioned any big surprises except for one person. I came across one person who said there's a big surprise in the movie, but nobody else did. So I was thinking, like, could we see Luke Skywalker? Could we, like, big, crazy things that could happen? And they all kind of got thrown out the window, like Din Djarin dying, because nobody was like, oh, there's a huge twist coming. You'll never see it.
Yeah.
Nobody mentioned it except for one person. So maybe there isn't as many twists and turns coming our way than we thought.
Yeah, I'm a little bit twixt in between with what's going on. We've talked about for the last couple months is we've seen so much in these trailers, but we still have no idea what's going on, which is crazy. So I do like that idea because in reference to Din, maybe dying and Grogu bringing him back, because my thing, we talked about this last week, my thing with Din is you're going to go now into Disney World, Disneyland, and you're going to have the Mandalorian wandering around and he's dead. So these 10-year-old and 5-year-old and 12-year-old kids are going, Mommy, there's Mandalorian, or that's Din Djarin, but I thought he died. So,
well, Vader's there.
Vader's there. A bunch of
this is its first big theatrical, thing. So I think it's going to be interesting, and maybe they'll do that again. Everything that I've thought has gone out the window since Maul.
Yeah.
Because I for sure thought that they wouldn't bring in Vader to do the big fight scene with him this first season. They wanted to get everybody in, and they took us all in hook, line, and sinker, and we got Darth Vader and Maul fighting for the first time in canon, which was amazing. Yeah. But I think that there are some surprises in here. I think that some of these content creators and other critics and stuff that have gone, they don't want to jeopardize their spot in doing this again.
Yeah.
So if they get and Disney knows all, like you said,
That's so
they've jumped on your podcast before. So
Yeah.
so they have people that are looking out and about and seeing who's saying stuff and things like that. And a lot of these content creators, have a lot of followers, and it's going to come out if they spoil it.
Yeah.
So I think that could be a good thing for us,
Yeah.
for tomorrow. But I do think there's going to be a couple decent surprises. And I know you talked about it a little bit yesterday, because Bo-Katan's not going to be like a huge cameo.
Yeah.
It would be a cool cameo for sure,
Mhm.
but it's not that big of a deal because she's been in it before.
Yeah.
So if we get some, bigger cameos, that would be pretty cool. I think we'll probably get one, but Rada is going to have a big part in this, like we've seen in the past few things. And even that spot that you showed with him on a Delphi base.
Yeah.
Just sort of hanging out by the ship over there. Just
It's
just
like a
wait.
mistake almost.
Yeah. So I think, and again, we're not going to bring in Jeremy Allen White for, a 5-minute dialogue and then be done with him. So I think that'll be cool. We will see a lot of Rada. I think that Zeb, because they have Zeb in this, that we're going to see, or we're definitely mentioning somebody from the Ghost crew, whether it's Hera and Ezra, maybe it's just Chopper.
Interesting.
I think that'll be something that pops up, because you're not putting Zeb in there just by himself. I don't think, my opinion, my prediction is they're not going to put Zeb in there without bringing somebody else from the Ghost crew there. We didn't have confirmation, but I thought as well, when you showed that one ship, and even though when you zoomed in on it, it might have been the Ghost, which would be cool. We've seen stuff like that afterwards in Rogue One, some of these different Easter eggs, but I think that this will, you want to have the audience, you're going to capture them in the first 25 minutes like we saw, and then you're going to want to keep for the rest of this, because this is their big debut in the last 6.5, 7 years for this. And I had a really cool thing. I don't know if either of you guys watched the Sunday morning, Jon Favreau had an interview, and it was I watched the whole 50-minute interview, and it was awesome. And he talked about everything, but he didn't give anything away, except she asked him about season 4. And he said, yes, I had this, and this is what went on, and this and that, and this and that. But he talked about how then I had to make some changes because of Dave's bigger picture.
That's awesome.
So that's a really cool thing, I think, that we're going to see, and why he went from season 4 to this movie has made some changes, I'm guessing, with Ahsoka and Thrawn and some of these other people, when he, hopefully does this trilogy, and we have this Mandoverse with Boba Fett and Fennec coming in, and everybody, just coming to help out, which I think will be really cool.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've heard them talk about it plenty, but I'm interested in your take, because, like Ron just mentioned, Ghost crew people. Do you think we'll see like Hera or the Ghost? And to your point too, with the trailer where it looks like it could have been the Ghost in the background, they've done it before where they edit out, especially in Marvel movies, where they edit out characters in the trailers, and they could easily do that for this movie. Like just edit out the Ghost being in the background or something. But obviously Thrawn at the end of Ahsoka coming back to the main galaxy as the heir to the Empire, that seems to be where this is all going. That's the whole big story. Do you think we'll get any nods to that, or even a reference to Thrawn, or even a Hera Syndulla or something in this movie?
I think Thrawn being mentioned, that seems far-fetched for me, and I don't know why, even though it's not far-fetched from the story. But I think that is coming like too far from left field for a lot of the audience that might be coming to see this movie. Right? Ideally, this movie is going to bring in a lot of new Star Wars fans. Like my niece and nephew, they're 9 and 7. I really want to get them to see this movie. I know that, like, who is Thrawn to them? He's no one. And I think this movie might be created with some of those viewers in mind. But would I freak out if they make a mention to Thrawn? Yeah, I would be pumped. And like ideally, I would love to see the entire Ghost crew. Just at the end. Just like 30 seconds. That would be fine. Just 30 seconds. That would be amazing. But I think the feedback I have heard from the people who have seen it so far, the creators who have seen it, they all say this is a great movie to bring to someone who's new to Star Wars.
Yeah.
So I think Thrawn feels like too much of a deep dive for a casual viewer.
See, I agree with that to an extent, because if you watch the original Star Wars and they mention the Emperor, he's not in the movie, but they mention the Emperor, it's the same sort of thing. Like, yeah, the Emperor is this big bad, and you know that he's the big bad because Vader's the one saying his name and everybody's scared of him and everything. But you don't have to know anything, because when it's 1977, Ron, you can in 1977, when people went to go see the movie, they didn't have the prequel, so they didn't know who Palpatine was, they didn't know who the Emperor was, we didn't know all that backstory. So they can do that and get away with it. Same with Stinky the Hutt. Stinky the Hutt's gonna be in this movie. To us, we know who that character is, but to a random new fan, they won't know who that is. I agree with you, though. I don't think we will see Thrawn. Definitely a mention, maybe, because he's mentioned in Mando season 3 too.
That's true.
By the Shadow Council, and we're getting a couple of Shadow Council members in this movie.
Yes. Yep.
So that'd be great as well. But Ghost Crew wise, I think you're probably right. It would be at the end of the movie, if anything. I think Zeb will be like a main character of this movie.
Yeah.
But Hera and Ezra and Chopper and the Ghost probably later on, at least at the very end. I did see something today, actually, that Jon Favreau said that this movie is going to be not like, he said a standalone film because it's its own thing, but it does have things that some fans will notice that set up Ahsoka season 2.
Oh, yeah.
So if that's
Cool.
the Ghost Crew or Thrawn or a mention of those things, because he just arrived at Dothamir with a whole army of Night Sisters, that has to be brought up at some point if he's doing anything in the galaxy.
Well, and I think what you were talking about earlier, and we did a little short about it, is possibly having Skeleton Crew mentioned or something going on in there, because you have At-Atin that's so close to Dothamir, and maybe we'll get one of these mentions in there or something. I think definitely in Ahsoka we'll deal with that a little bit more.
Yeah.
But for this movie, it would be cool to have something sort of kick back to one of those things, in an Easter egg or something, which I think we're going to get a lot of. And that's the favorite part for me. And somebody asked me, when this takes place. And for me, because it's so close to the OGs, the originals, that's what's fun for me, and all the Easter eggs, especially with, and I did the same thing you guys did, but watch, season 1, 2, and 3, and to see all that and all the different Easter eggs that they have in there that go throw back to the original or even to the prequels is so cool. And I think we're still going to get that. And that was one of the things that me and Nick talked about when we went and saw the 25-minute little beginning thing. I thought it was such a good job that John did to give that Star Wars feel. It really was. There was some funny little things in there. There's some cool action, but it just, and I don't think that he's going to step away from that. I think that's going to be this whole 2 hours and 12 minutes. And I think it's going to be just nonstop action, so we get to stay on the edge of our seats the whole time.
Well, to that point, it almost feels like this movie is a direct sequel to Return of the Jedi, in a way that, like, Sigourney Weaver is saying, this is Jabba's son, the only heir to Jabba's throne. And that's a direct sequel to the events of the first act of Return of the Jedi. So this is, I mean, Luke, Leia, and Han probably won't show up, but it's still a direct sequel to that story that panned out there. And yes, a lot of practical effects. They're bringing back all the old crew and making all the puppeteering stuff and stop motion stuff, which is really cool. Bringing you back to the original trilogy stuff. But yeah, that's what they've always done on the small screen. And it's funny when you read all these reviews and they're like, oh, it feels like a long version of a Mando episode. Well, yeah, it's called The Mandalorian Grogu. Like, what did you expect it to be? Something completely different that we've never seen before? Exactly. We know what to expect here. But yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of original trilogy references, not just Jabba, but a lot of original trilogy references, in that this is only 5 years after, or give or take 5 years after, when the sequels were 25 years after, and you still got plenty of references to that as well.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Nick, sorry, we forgot about you.
That's all right.
What's your predictions?
That's all right. Somewhat on par with you guys, I would say. Like, I think I'm going to hold to my original system of predictions, that I think this movie is going to be kind of its own thing for now. I think at most it will get things in it, might get referenced, but I don't think it's going to, like you guys were saying, I don't think it's going to directly pull and connect, like, say, Ahsoka season 2 and be like a jumping off point for it. I think it might reference some of the pertinent details of the time there that matter, but I don't think it's going to be this big, sprawling, canonical, you know, movie that ties a Mandoverse together. I think that's coming, that sort of thing. I think it'll be fun. I'm sticking with my prediction that it's like kind of like either Mando season 4 beginnings or kind of what like Book of Boba Fett was for Mando season 3, kind of its own thing that will set us on a journey and know where we're going for other things in the future. That being said, I think outside of what we saw at the special look event, I think it will kind of turn in ways plot wise that we aren't expecting, while also retaining some of that season 4 stuff that would happen. Also, you know, I don't know if it was in that interview, Ron, but Jon Favreau recently said that season 4 is in his desk.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so like,
yeah, he had it done.
right.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that means they instead of season 4, this is what we're doing, or they pulled things from there, or if that's still coming. Obviously, we'll know by tomorrow.
Yeah.
But in reference to Thrawn and stuff, I'm gonna go and throw a prediction that he will not be directly mentioned. I think I agree with Thalia that if he's referenced, it's going to be more like Shadow Council leadership stuff, maybe the name, but I think it's a little too deep for what the movie seems to be intending to do, which is like fun Star Wars back in the theater, let's go. And then Ahsoka season 2 will take care of the rest of that. And then whatever comes next, right? And I think, you know, it might be its own story and not even really touch on like where we leave Mandalore in season 3 or where we, you know, it could be. But I think it will be kind of its own pit stop between season 3 and potentially season 4. I mean, it was obviously written. Season 4 was obviously written. So,
Well, if Din Djarin dies, then that all goes out the
right. Good point. Good point. And to your guys' conversation earlier, I think if you're ever going to kill Grogu, that'd be the way to do it. You know, the selfless sacrifice, maybe bringing someone back or whatever, but I don't think they're going to do it. I'm with you. I do think Din could kick it this movie. Depends how it goes. I did want to say, did not predict this, but I found out as well that Mike has legs today. Dave that loves Star Wars says Mike has legs. Who knew?
What? That's not true. No, that's not. Oh my God, they can see my legs. Dave, don't believe everything you see online.
It does not change my Mando predictions, but it did rattle me a little bit.
Very long legs too, Dave. Don't try it at home.
Yeah. So ultimately, I think this will become a bigger story within the context of the movie than we've seen, but I don't think it'll be big enough to where the casual viewer will feel lost in any way. I think it'll be very fun. And we'll see. And I don't think those ratings are that big of a deal. I think 6.5 or 7 out of 10 can still be a very awesome experience, especially if you love Star Wars. I've seen people on the internet say, you know, I give it a 7 out of 10, but it's my favorite movie of the year. You know, like that's, you know, as long as it's out and we're all enjoying it, I don't think I'm not putting much into that. It's up to the beholder, I think.
Yeah. And the thing is, I mean, like you just said, a 6 out of 10 is not a bad score. But if it's right now rated higher than if it's better than the Phantom Menace, we're in a good spot, I think.
Right.
Like the Phantom Menace is a great movie. I mean, there's probably got to be no lightsabers in this movie, and there's Duel of the Fates at the end of the Phantom Menace. But I keep seeing over and over again is the dogfights and the action sequences and the choreography are so good, like over and over and over again. So it's going to be action packed. There's no denying that. But what you said about not connected to other things. Star Wars has always really done that, though. Like in Attack of the Clones, you see the plans for the Death Star. And like you only notice that if you're a really like there's Easter eggs all over the place. The Mandalorian's been like that too, with Easter eggs all over the place. But Obi-Wan mentions the Clone Wars in episode 4, and you don't know what that is. So I don't think they'll shy away from that. Like, you get mentions of Jabba the Hutt in the trailer, and if you've never seen Star Wars before, you don't know who that is. So I'm sure you'll get references to what stuff that comes after. Mando, though, as a show, really focused on Project Necromancer, cloning on Navarro, cloning with Grogu's blood and Moff Gideon. I don't think they'll touch any of that. I know there's some fans out there that think Moff Gideon's somehow still alive, but I don't think they'll touch any of that in this movie. The cloning stuff, that would be way too much to dive into in just 2 hours. I think there's no time for that.
That's kind of what I'm getting at with the sort of like being self-contained. I think it's going to be much more immediate to whatever they're doing. And I think at best there'll be references, as Sigourney Weaver says in the trailers, like there's a war coming. We might get references on why they feel that way. We already may know, but the general audience doesn't.
True.
So I think it won't touch, for example, like you said, the cloning stuff or the Grogu stuff in that regard, and maybe not the Mandalorian stuff, other than what's immediately in front of us.
Yeah.
Well, to that point, like, do you guys think that we'll see more Mando character? Obviously, Bo-Katan and Boba Fett are the obvious ones, but like Carson Teva. Carson Teva's in every season of The Mandalorian. He's in Ahsoka.
Yeah.
He's not in Skeleton Crew, I don't think. But either way, he's sort of the connective piece because he's a ranger of the New Republic. He's in everything. He's connecting everything from Hera Syndulla to Grogu. And they kind of leaked it, but he is going to be a Lego piece in the Sigourney Weaver X-Wing Lego set. So it could be that he's in this movie, but if he's in this movie, in season 3, he's already on to Thrawn's plan. He already knows the Empire's coming back, and he's trying to warn Coruscant. He's trying to warn the New Republic, and they're like, nah. So if Carson Teva's in this, and obviously on the Adelphi base, then Sigourney Weaver's character, Colonel Ward, probably has a very similar thought process, and Zeb does too, where they all know the Empire's still out here, but the core worlds are just ignoring it. So do you think we'll see a character like a Carson Teva in this movie?
I definitely think so. I think we'll see several characters from, like I said, there might be little cameos, but to me, that's really not a cameo because they're in the movie.
Right.
But even Bo-Katan, I know Katie had that whole thing, which was great, and hopefully we will see her, in this. But I think that, you're going to see Carson Teva. We might even see Dave in this.
Trapper Wolf.
Trapper Wolf, because somebody was already saying, maybe it was you yesterday, somebody
there's a
leaked something that it might be Trapper Wolf with,
big
in a
dogfight,
with Juno or
Lord Janu,
Lord Janu. So I think that we'll have those type of characters in this. I mean, I'd love to see even like a Cobb Vanth, that just for a couple, scenes or something like that, because we don't know who the big villain is yet. We all know that Thrawn is out there, but he's not in the Mando show yet. So at least not, to be the big blue meanie. And Din Djarin has no idea who he is at this point. Yeah. Maybe he's heard about him, but he doesn't know who he is and what's going on. But I definitely think that we will see some of the, even was it Paleo, the
Pelian.
Pelimoto. Yeah.
I think we might see, I think we'll probably see R5 again. So I don't think those are going to be huge. I mean, those will be great and they will add to the story, but for me, they're not huge cameos to be in there. I think those are cool characters that should be in there almost.
Yeah, true. Nick?
Yeah, I agree. I think they're always good, especially this being the first Star Wars movie in a long time. They're always good for like a cameo that gets everybody excited. Yeah. I don't know who that would be in this context.
Well, Embo's already in the trailer.
True, but exciting. Like for like casual fans,
you don't know Embo.
Right. So I wonder if there'll be anything. I mean, even if you get like we did in, was it Mando or Ahsoka? We get C-3PO. Like something Ahsoka, random. Yeah, something random that works, but also kind of like bridges the gap a little bit.
And we see R2 in
Mando.
Season 2 finale. He comes in with Luke,
right?
So right. we those characters like that are awesome.
Yeah, well, R2 and C-3PO are in every Star Wars movie except for Solo, maybe. So they're in every Star Wars movie. Are they gonna end the cycle here? Well, I guess it ended with Solo, but are they going to keep this tradition going of having those two in the movie? Because even in Rogue One, they just throw them in for a little second, but I don't know. I don't see them being in this movie. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, there's no. We're not really anywhere where we would see them.
I know. Yeah.
That's the thing.
And I'm not saying it's them, but something like that. That's kind of like an iconic Star Wars thing, which there's going to be plenty. You know, X-wings for one is enough of a crowd pleaser, but I could see a deep cameo satisfying us, but being like a little bit of a teaser. Like Embo is probably the deepest one at this point, or Stinky, I guess.
Yeah. From a certain point of view.
From a certain point of view. But I think they're always good for one really surprising one. And I almost feel like maybe I'm deluding myself a little bit, but things have been too quiet to where there is something to tell and everyone's shutting up.
Yeah.
You know?
You said NDAs, and I can't get like NDAs out of my head now because everybody has been so even keeled and like mellow about everything. And I'm like, what aren't you telling us? There's like something major you're not telling us. But again, they can't tell us. But they're not even, like you said, except for one review that you saw, no one's even alluding to like, this is fun. There'll be something surprising. They're just like, it's a really good movie. And that's it. Like they are so media trained. Like it's, and I would like to think that this is intentional. I would like to think that there'll be something that like really makes us just go like, oh my God, it's happening. Whatever's happening, it's happening.
I think it will by the end of the movie for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, again, you know, we're just psyched about it. No matter what percentage they get, you know, the 3 or 4 of us and everybody on the chat here, you know, is just super excited about this to come out. Yeah. And I think what we've seen in the trailers and everything, it's not going to disappoint us at all. I don't think just in the first 25 minutes and the rest of the trailers, it's not going to disappoint. It'll be an interesting ending. You know, and that's my thing. Is this going to be is this going to be an Empire Strikes Back cliffhanger? You know, where we're going to have to wait a year and a half, 2 years, maybe 3 years before Dave, you know, adds this to the trilogy or whatever. Yeah. You know, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. I want to do one thing real quick that we didn't do at the beginning is just say hello to a few people that are on here. We have a ton of people on here, which is awesome. But I know when we first got on, of course, Max and
switch the glasses.
Steve were on there, so I can't. Neither one.
Wait, switch them back.
They don't work very good. So I was trying to do it because I'm a little bit further away from the computer today, so I have to have a little bit. Yeah, Nick, you can do it. You want to go through and say Max and Steve and
So we got Brandon Baker in the house. 730 EV. Welcome, Max Rebo. As always, good to have you. Holly is in. She will be with you guys, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Tomorrow for the premiere. Dave that loves Star Wars, thanks for being on here. Nathan, good to see you again. The chat has been very lively, so that's great. We always love that. Nice. 50 Thunderer, welcome. Jarvo, Steve, thanks for coming. Always very lively in the chat. April's here. Austin was here. And who else we got? Shout yourself out if you're in here. Mandalorian was in here.
Oh, nice. I saw Chopper Base. I saw Darth Plagueis. I saw Jacob was in here. So, and since I know we've already sort of done our predictions, but I think it's time for us to do one of our new segments that we had, and we've had a couple. You know, in the predictions, we talked about this a little bit. But now we have to confirm what everybody thinks, and you guys know what time it is.
Warning! Not everyone survives the galaxy. It's time for Mic Drop, the segment where we predict who's getting eliminated, who's not making it out alive, and who may have just booked a one-way trip to the dark side.
I like how I look like the Grim Reaper in that, of course.
Of course, you have to. You have to.
Well, I guess I'll start.
Yeah.
Din Djarin, of course. Din Djarin, I don't know. I feel like I'm getting less and less thinking that Din Djarin's going to die every day because they're pushing it so hard in all the trailers. Every trailer is like the last mission for Din Djarin, or like Grogu has to save the day.
He will die tomorrow.
He will die. Yeah. So I don't know if they're just teasing it too much or if we're onto something. But the big one, I think, is the Hutts. Well, all 3 Hutts, but the twins in particular. I feel like the twins have to die by the end of this movie. Rada, I don't really know. I mean, I open that to you guys. I don't see him dying, but I also don't really know how his story will go at all in this movie because they're keeping it a secret because Lucasfilm's really good at that. But I guess my big one would be Din Djarin, and then the twin Hutts for sure. Oh, and an Enzellan. I know for a fact an Enzellan's gonna die. At least one. I know they're cute and all, but one of them's gone. Going to be eaten by Marok, the Embo's little dog. Embo is also a question mark for me. Will they bring another bounty hunter, legendary bounty hunter, into live action and kill him off for the first time? Cad Bane in Book of Boba Fett. Sigourney Weaver's on the chopping block too. I don't know. A lot of death predictions for sure.
Yeah.
But
Talia, you want to go next?
I don't have too many predictions. I have not seen the 25-minute preview. I have just seen the 10-minute preview that was part of Fortnite that aired yesterday. That was so fun, though. I play Fortnite with my niece and nephew, who I'm trying to get into Star Wars. So
we know you think Din's gonna.
Yeah, I do.
What do you think about the Hutts, the twin Hutts, particularly?
Yeah, I mean, sure.
Yeah, they're the bad guys. So
yeah, that'd be nice. I mean, every creature that Din fights, presumably they're not going to make it. I think that's fair to say. Yeah, I don't have too many other predictions. I do think, though, out of like any cameo that we could see from the Ghost Crew, for some reason, I think Chopper highest likelihood of showing up. Like I think we might see Chopper over an actual, like over Hera, over Ezra. I think, and it just Chopper. Like I could see it just being Chopper and not anyone else.
I like that.
I mean, we're huge fans.
Show me everyone.
Chopper's
I would be excited to see everyone. But,
but I think you're right with that prediction. If we see Hera, we got to see Ezra or vice versa because they're probably together, and we would see Chopper with that. But you sort of stole mine. But I for sure the Hutts are going to die, and I think the twins for sure, and I think actually that we're going to get Rada is going to sort of step in that spot. Now, maybe he might not be the gangster, but I think he's going to be young enough and, knows enough of what's going on. We don't have a lot of the crime syndicates right now. So I think that 2 Hutts will die. I don't think Rada will. I am sort of on that unfortunate bandwagon. I think that Sigourney Weaver will not be in anything else. I think they brought her in to bring a big name in and not, to kill her off. And someone's, I think it was yesterday when I was listening, Embo. So their species lives to about 160 years old. And at the time of this, he's 50. So he's not that old. Wow. At least that's what I looked up yesterday. Yeah. I guess, Max, you could probably let me know if I'm wrong in here.
Well, you just assume that he's in his prime in the Clone Wars. Yeah. And Cad Bane was in his prime in the Clone Wars, and this is like 25, 30 years later. So Cad Bane's old. So maybe he does live to 100. I don't know that.
Well, yeah, and again, if they're in their 20s and 30s, they're obviously in a lot better prime than, but the older guys in their 50s and 60s aren't that bad.
Are we sure about that?
Nick, what do you think, buddy?
Okay, so I'm going to paraphrase Darth Plagueis from the Darth Plagueis novel by James Luceno.
Nice.
Who kind of justifies everything he does by saying, well, no, like burning down the world and killing people isn't evil. It's just a matter of fact that if you're in my way, that you have to die. Like it's a part of how the world works.
That's nice.
So that being said, everybody on Nal Hutta, the second they capture Din, done. To me, I think they're dead.
Yeah.
Not that it's evil, but because they captured Din and are fixing to do something to Grogu. I think everyone who does that is done.
Like
including any of the Imperial remnant people that Din crosses paths with, I think are done. Now I guess that includes the twins. I think there's something weird going on with the twins that is not just like we want Stinky. I think they want him for a reason that, maybe for their own personal gain. So it's kind of a win-win for everybody if Din takes him out. But like Mike said, I originally thought for sure that Din was going to go. I'm a little hesitant, but my original theory was that Din would die, and then if we ever get the Mandalorian stuff moving forward, that would be represented by Grogu, and sort of the main people working the series are actual people who can talk, but the Mandalorian would be Grogu from here on out.
Yeah,
That's
and
what-
Bo-Katan.
yeah, and the story functions through everybody else, but
Yeah.
don't know if that's the case anymore.
Yeah.
And then I agree with you. I think Sigourney Weaver is probably not going to be in any more Star Wars stuff, which means it'd be useful to have a heroic end. Or I forget who was saying it last week. Someone thinks she's bad in the chat. It might have been
I
Max.
don't see that.
Yeah.
That's a theory.
Playing
Yeah.
a spy or
Well, we have
Yeah.
seen like spies in the New Republic. We saw it in The Mandalorian season 3.
Yeah.
That'd be a fun twist.
It would, yeah.
That would be a fun twist.
They kind of went out of their way for like a couple of whole episodes to like make that a thing. And that's kind of what this, either whether it's season 4 or Ahsoka season 2 or the Mandalorian and Grogu, I think they're kind of teeing up how the resistance exists.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like
for sure.
sort of
We
a
have to-
splintering off. And the people that we're dealing with from the perspective of Din are the people who will eventually start the resistance. And I don't know if we're going to be getting that super deep about that in this movie, but I think that's sort of the differentiation they went out of their way to make in season 3 and in Ahsoka. And so I don't know, out of them, like, would you kill Teva in this movie?
No,
Would you kill these people? But would you kill the brand new character who we all like because it's a famous actress? I think
Yes.
you could,
Yeah.
So
well, to that point too, I guess her turning evil, it could be like she sends Din and Grogu on this mission, which they don't want to go on from what we've seen in the trailers, because Din's like, I don't work with Hutts anymore. I don't work with criminal underworld people anymore. I just, because he's too good at his job. Like if he's taken out too many Imperials, and now she has to like sort of stop that and put him on this mission where he's gonna fail, and she knows he's gonna fail. That would be crazy. If he comes back to a Delphi base after getting captured by Embo or captured by the Hutts and tortured or whatever, and like he's the one who kills Sigourney Weaver because she's a villain, that would be quite the turn.
I do have another mic drop, and I don't know. This kind of depends on how closed loop the movie is.
Yeah.
Right. If this is gonna be its own thing, or if it's gonna really tie in the Mandalorian in some respects, I think, unfortunately, we will possibly get Grief Karga at least the mention of his death.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you do that here or if you do it another time in a different project.
Yeah.
But if we're all correct that Embo is walking around Navarro, and that's pretty central to the Mandalorian story, Navarro is. So may Carl Withers rest in peace. I think that could be a technical death that is brought up in this movie.
Yeah, I don't really know if they'll kill off his character or they'll just sort of write him off. But at first, I thought we would get no Navarro in this movie at all. But now it looks like we're getting a lot of Navarro.
Yeah.
So they'll have to talk about it one way or another, whether they write him off screen or actually kill him off. At first, I thought maybe we'll get just a huge fight on Navarro where he dies in the fight and it's off screen. But that doesn't look like any of that happens in the trailers except for Embo coming into town. But why would he just go after Grief Karga and then go after Din for no reason? So
Yeah.
I kind of feel like they might just write him off for the movie for one reason or another. Be like, oh, he's off planet doing something, or I don't know. We
So
also
not-
remember too that IG 11, not 88, 11 was just recreated at the end of season 3 to be the new Marshal of Navarro. So the question is, will he be in that too? So like all these people who are around.
So can I ask you guys this? Max Rubel put something up. Kind of what I was saying is he believes that the twins want Stinky so that they can kill him.
Kill him.
Oh.
So what I was thinking was they want him because they are already at odds with Boba Fett,
Yeah.
who has taken his, position or their position there, honestly.
Right. And he's probably
So-
the heir to
Yeah, he has a claim to that throne.
right, the
Yeah.
claim to the throne.
Yeah. So they don't have as much, but if he's there, it gives more legitimacy to their argument.
Yeah.
I don't know how that plays into like, if Rada loves it where he's at, then, I don't know why they'd want to kill Mando for that, but
Well, I did like Ron's theory of maybe the Twin Huts die and Rada takes their place, because then now Din Djarin, and I think Din and Rada will be like best friends in this movie after they fight first. It'll be like Hulk versus Thor in Ragnarok. But we work together. But you're going to see them sort of become best friends. So now Din Djarin's going to be best pals with the guy who's in charge of the underworld on Tatooine and best pals with the guy who's in charge of the Huts. So he just has all these connections to the underworld. We also just saw in Maul Shadow Lord, the Pike's head is gone. Maul's in charge, but we know Maul's gone. So what's going on with the Pikes now? We saw a Pike leader die in Book of Boba Fett. The Crimson Dawn has disappeared up until this point. We don't know what's going on with Kira and the Crimson Dawn. And the Black Sun are nowhere to be seen either in a post-original trilogy time period. So the criminal underworld could be run by the Din Djarin and pals at some point through the end of this movie. Like if Rada takes the throne of the twins and now Boba Fett's on Tatooine, might have some friendly faces. And this could again go to Thrawn, because who's going to take down Thrawn? In Legends, it's Luke, Leia, and Han, but it's not going to be that same thing in this canon version. So because Thrawn's not mentioned in the sequels at all.
Yeah.
Like it's Snoke in the First Order. So it could just be the criminal underworld. It could be Rada with the team up of Din Djarin and Grogu and Boba Fett and Fennec Shand and the Ghost crew, all characters you don't see in the sequels.
Right.
Could be the heir to the Empire stuff. And this could just be a setup to that.
Yeah, I have one more mic drop as well. I think Lord Jano he's not gonna make it out.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna be a pain in the ass for a little while, as we've seen.
Yeah.
And try to kill Din and put Grogu in a little bird cage and all that fun stuff. But it'll be interesting to see what he has to say about all these things, because he's the one that says, Din will die tomorrow, and he's got all the checkerboard pieces out there that are monsters now. And I don't think that's when, if something does happen to Din, it's not going to be in that gladiator arena. I think that Rada will put up a decent fight, and he might get a little bruised up, but I think it'll be interesting to see what happens. And I still really think that theory that you had mentioned, that maybe he does die or he's about to die, and Grogu comes in and saves him.
They do open the trailer with saying the old protect the young and the young protect the old.
True.
Yeah.
So they could be setting it up there.
True.
For sure.
I do have like a fun mic drop. I don't know if this is kind of breaking this segment, but this isn't like in an ideal world. I would love for, if Ezra makes a cameo, to not waste the space on like not bringing up the fact that he goes by Jabba. Like he has to make a Jabba joke.
yeah.
If Ezra comes
Yes.
on, like, of course I know him. I am him. Like take a
Yeah,
Kenobi line and put it
That
into the
would be
movie.
awesome.
So manifesting that. If you're gonna put Ezra in it, make Ezra do a Jabba joke. Like
Yes.
Yeah, if he goes, Rada, I am your father.
something.
Yeah,
They have to.
that would be great.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
So that'll
Well, I think that Ezra crossing paths with Grogu would be the best, because he's the only one in canon who would actually say, "Oh my God, it's Baby Yoda," and that would just be a great nod to all the fans out there.
that would be pretty good too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Any more
Mic
mic
drops?
drops or deaths
I feel
that
like
you
we
guys
killed off every character who's gonna
Yeah.
appear.
Thorough.
But yeah, except for Grogu, but
Yeah.
maybe
But maybe.
That would be wild. No,
No, there's
Grogu,
no
he'll be all right.
he'll be fine.
He'll be fine.
He'll be good.
if you guys haven't
Yeah.
yet, please make sure you put in your predictions on a mic
Sure.
drop here. I'd be interested to see what you guys are thinking. And then what else we got? Oh, we haven't done this yet. We haven't done our where's our little buddy here?
I'm just holding Grogu here with the oops.
We're gonna do our little there you
Red
go.
Sox.
Nice.
Red Sox Grogu.
Yeah, a little
Red
Red Sox
Sox Grogu.
Since we're in Boston.
Speaking of Grogu,
Well,
Uh-oh.
There he
There
is.
we go.
He's giving a little salute.
yeah, the reason that this movie's gonna be so successful, and Ron, $2 billion. Now, the reason it's gonna be successful is because of obviously Grogu drawing in the kids, but
Yeah.
The Mandalorian is so successful because it's the balance between that and the more adult audience. The first episode, Din Djarin's got his pulse rifle literally incinerating Jawas from afar. It's still very dark while also being very kid friendly at the same time. It's the perfect balance of Star Wars. It's the original trilogy as well with the Ewoks, but also we're blowing up an entire planet
Yeah.
at the same time. But that's why this movie's going to be so successful, because it's from the kiddiest kid thing of Star Wars to the most adult thing of Star Wars. It is the middle, and it can appeal to the most amount of that audience.
Yeah, that's that whole space cowboy thing, which
Yeah.
they've done with this, and I think they've done a great job. And John's done a freaking fantastic job. And to have Dave in there with him, to just cross the T's and dot the I's, we're bringing, like we've talked about, we're bringing in Legends characters, into canon, and all these different things. So unfortunately, whatever the critics say, I always go by, especially, when I'm looking at Rotten Tomatoes or Fandango or something like that. I'm always looking at whatever the public thinks.
Yeah.
Because again, those are the fans that like the characters. Those are the fans that, there's going to be a couple that aren't going to be happy with this or that character or this, and something that went on, or a birthday or something like that, But I think that most of the people that go to this are going to be fans, and even the ones that aren't are going to enjoy it, because you're going to have a whole lot more. And that's what we've seen, I think, in the reviews, that Grogu's in this a lot more. It's the Mandalorian and Grogu. It's not the Mandalorian anymore with his little sidekick. He's been with Luke for 2 years training. Now he's back with Din. They've been doing training, Mandalorian training, and this could be, I think you said it, this could be the next, Mandalorian Jedi. Yep. that we see. But we have to figure out, they have to show us, or they have to let us know, or what's going on, is how is he going to become that? Is he technically a Jedi? Yeah. Not really. No. But is he going to go, and maybe we get that, that animated Luke Skywalker, Academy, which would be cool, something like that. But I think it's going to be interesting to bring that up. And we have, 2 more movies or 3 more movies with Dave, I think being able to bring more life and sort of take the franchise with Grogu.
Yeah. And to that point too, like, he did train with Luke, and now he can wield the Force without having to take a 48-hour nap. But will he get a lightsaber is a big question too, because the dark saber's gone. Yep. A lot of people were upset about that, but it needed to, so that Mandalorians weren't just obsessed with the saber and who leads them. But will Grogu build his own lightsaber, find his own lightsaber? Because Luke still has Yoda's, we know that. Will he just go be like, hey, I want this, and take it from him, or will he craft his own? Yes, he's cool using the Force, but I'd like Grogu to, wield a lightsaber too. Yeah. That'd be nice.
Well, and I guess, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, we don't find out what that snowy planet is yet, do we? In those first 25 minutes?
No.
Because somebody had suggested, even if it was Ilum, that if they're on Ilum, does Grogu get a voice, or something, some crystals calling out to him while they're there?
That'd be wild.
Somebody on your show yesterday mentioned it.
Yeah, we don't know what that snowy planet is, but even you saw in the first 10 minutes, they leave there right away. So again, it could be a new planet, could be Ilum, which would be awesome. Yeah. Even if it's not seen again in the movie and it's still Ilum, that would still show that there's an Imperial base there and they're building Starkiller base and all that, and would be a direct connection to the sequels. But I don't know if that's going to be too significant. I'm not too sure on that one. I do want to ask you guys, and specifically you, because I've heard their take on this, but in the trailer, there's this old lizard dude in a rocking chair who's talking to Grogu like, are you scared? You should be. Like, he's saying these crazy things. Who is that? The most impossible question.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like Grogu's on his own sort of side mission at some point in this movie, but it's a 2.5-hour movie. Like, how are we just going to have Grogu go off, do his own thing, train a little bit with this weird old lizard dude we've never seen before, who's spewing these wisdom things like he's Yoda? Like, is he some Force user? My biggest theory on this was that he might be a character like the Bendu in Rebels.
Ooh,
And maybe he's sort of a balance between light and dark, because that's Grogu's not a Jedi.
right.
So he would be more like that. But it still just seems so out of place. And everything we've seen from the trailers, it's action-packed sequences. It's this A.T. Walker thing. And then there's Grogu with this old lizard dude in a rocking chair. And it makes no sense. What do you think is going on there?
Yeah, that's a good point. I have no idea who he is.
That's the answer I get every single time.
Yeah, I don't know.
We think he's a Jedi.
I would love to see a Bendu adjacent character, because I think the concept of Bendu is so cool. It's also close to Rebels, which ideally this might be a little bit close to Rebels, so that would be fun. Yeah, I also am somebody, I did see the 10-minute preview in Fortnite. But I'm also somebody who I don't like to watch trailers too closely. I do know exactly what you're talking about, though. I know exactly what part. But I like watched it, the whole trailer, like once, kind of like with squinted eyes, because like I had to. And that's it, because I do like to be surprised quite a bit.
One of the posters for the movie is Grogu sitting on that log. You see it over and over again. It's him by himself meditating on a log.
Yeah.
And
Very Rey Skywalker, like in
in a jungle-y planet.
Yeah.
But it's like in all this crazy action stuff with Rada and the twins and all, like, where does that happen? Like, it's only a 2.5-hour movie. It's not a lot of time.
And that's it just made me think of it. Is that at the end? Is that sort of at the end? And there's because there's no
Din's already dead.
Right.
Yeah.
Or he's trying to figure out what to do next, because maybe Din did die, and then maybe he's going to go try to save him with the healing force or whatever. But yeah, that could definitely be something interesting.
Like Grogu, he's not confirmed watching the Gladiator Coliseum scenes, right?
He's in one of the trailers. He's there with Din in the audience. So again, it's like, how does he go from an audience member to fighting Rada in the Gladiator ring? But Grogu is there, and the whole cage thing. There's an official image that was released from Lucasfilm where it's Lord Janu, this the Imperial guy, and Grogu in a cage, like a bird.
You know what?
cage.
I did see that image too. Yeah, you're right.
So he's there with him. But where I think they split up is when Din's getting his helmet ripped off by the Hutts, and he's being threatened by the Hutts, and he's fighting the giant dragon snake. And I think that's when Grogu's off doing whatever. But I just don't know, again, how he comes across this old lizard dude, who that old lizard dude is. Because to us, when you meet Yoda in Empire, you immediately know that this is who Luke is looking for. Obi-Wan tells him to go find Yoda on Dagobah. Are we going to have something of that, like, with Grogu? Like, could Luke call out to him and be like, go find old lizard dude in a rocking chair? Probably not. But does he just happen upon this old dude and then trust him, and he's like the Bendu? Like, it could be like Kanan, who just walks into the spiders in Rebels,
And Bendu just comes.
the Bendu just comes up because he's getting called to. Is Grogu getting called to by this guy? Like, there's so many questions about that character in particular.
Yeah. And that's the thing. There's just so many questions now in reference to this, because we know the trailers are all over the place.
Yeah.
And I feel like that just by watching that first little segment there, I think once because they sort of cut off right there when Rada was fighting still, correct?
Yeah, so the 25 minutes, without going into crazy spoilers, is exactly what you see in the trailers. And it ends when he sort of gets to the place where Rada is. Yeah.
Right. So I wonder if that's where, Din goes and has a conversation, says, hey, listen, this is why I'm here, whatever. Din gets captured by Janu and somehow forces him into that thing at the same time. Or do they come back to the Gladiator? Does Din go back and try to talk to the twin Hutts in reference to that? So sorry, Nick, we're not ignoring you.
I know. I'm just loving the flow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, to that point, like, even though we've seen the first 25 minutes, even though we've seen the first 10 minutes, it's still, with 24 hours till we see the movie or whatever it is, we still have so many questions about where this movie goes. And even, as you said, there's NDAs and stuff, but the critics aren't saying anything. The media people aren't saying anything. Lucasfilm knows how to keep a secret. They really know how to keep a secret. And with the Mandalorian in particular, nobody knew with the Mandalorian that Grogu even existed. Before season 1 came out, there was not a soul that, other than who worked on the show, who knew that Grogu existed. And when he appears at the end of episode 1, season 1, you're like, oh my God, he's not in any of the marketing.
Yeah.
But he's in every single episode of the
Yeah.
show. So what are they hiding for this movie?
I'll even do you one better. Nobody knew, even with as much of a year's worth of marketing for The Force Awakens, nobody knew Rey was the central protagonist.
True. They
Everyone
thought
it was Finn.
Yeah.
And
nobody knew.
That.
Well, and nobody knew who Kylo Ren was. They thought it was like Luke under the mask or something crazy like that.
They hid the whole point of why, the whole perspective of the movie from us. So it could be anything. I, for one, think Lizard Guy, just to be safe, is just a guy. And at some point, Grogu and Din get separated. I think this guy has something to do with looking after him. Grogu might be with him, meditating, trying to figure out where Din is. Simply because I'm routinely, as you guys had mentioned, I'm routinely like overthinking trailers to then watch the thing and be like, shit, that was the first 10 minutes of the whole thing and now I know nothing. So
Disney does like to do that.
Yeah.
I don't know if they would throw him in like that. Even like Embo, Embo might be a really cool part of the movie, but I don't think putting him in the first trailer means that he's like the bad guy in the movie or the adversary,
Yeah, I mean, I think you're going to get to see a pretty cool showdown between Bounty Hunter on Bounty Hunter with Embo and Din. But that I don't think he'll be the main antagonist by any means. And I don't think he'll have that much screen time either, because bringing him to life is probably pretty difficult, and making him do all the crazy action sequences as well.
Yeah, for sure. We got about 40 minutes or so left. So I know last week when Nick and I did this other new segment, it went really long, which was awesome, and we had some really cool things going on. But we're gonna start this segment here. Nick, I think I can do it.
I got it.
You got it.
Yep.
So we're gonna do this the Q&A, and I'm gonna do. Could I do this part? You got that, right? I'm going to do
All right,
this.
chat. It's time for Jedi Chat Q&A. Drop your questions, theories, and hottest Star Wars takes. Let's see what the galaxy has for us tonight.
I still wish that was you screaming.
Well, it might be next week. I didn't have enough time this week, so it might be me next week.
Nice.
But what I want to do, and Nick's going to go off of the questions, guys, so please put them in there. But we need to have them sort of
Mando focused.
Yeah, Mando focused. Yeah. Mandalorian and Grogu movie focused. Everybody will go around. Nick will bring up the questions. We'll each give our answer, what we think, and we'll go from there. So everybody in the chat, again, thank you guys for being here. I know it's early. Thank you for looking at all the social media and finding out and making sure you were there. I know Mike put it in his Discord, which was awesome. So I appreciate that. So again, next when we're off, please go in, throw some comments in afterwards. We had a few last week, which was awesome. So thanks you guys for that, and make sure you subscribe and hit the like button and notifications and all that fun stuff. So, but Nick, what do we got? What do we got first?
Well, this is more of a comment to kick us off, but I think we found Mike's Star Wars name. Poor D. Kim sounds like a Star Wars character, and it's Mic Drop spelled backwards.
Oh,
I like it. I like it.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
That's a great one.
Yes.
Yeah.
We would love your questions, guys. I'm trying to go through if anybody asked any earlier. But I saw one that's more of a joke. It's, do you think the movie will increase the demand for bird cages?
Well, honestly, I mean, no, but it could indirectly do something like that for something else. Movies like that have done that a lot in the past, especially Star Wars movies.
All right. Oh, sorry.
Well, I had a question. If I'll go first. Do you guys think we'll see a lightsaber in this movie? Like if Ezra shows up lightsaber, if Luke shows up lightsaber, any lightsaber at all, even just a hilt, so it doesn't even have to be ignited. Do you think we'll see a lightsaber in this movie? Because it would be the first Star Wars movie to not have one. Maul's in Solo. Vader's in Rogue One, and all the other
Yeah.
movies have lightsabers for sure.
Yeah, I'll take this one first. I'm not. I forgot about Maul.
Yeah,
I was
Solo.
going to say. So if we do see a lightsaber, I think, and this is a long shot, it might be Grogu's. I don't think we're going to get a Luke or a Vader in here. Again, the Jedi are, pretty much dispersed. We still have, Luke doing his thing, but I don't think we'll see him again. We got him, which was amazing in season 2. Such a great, and then in Book of Boba Fett as well. But I think I would say 90-10. I don't think we're going to see one in this. And if we do, I think it could be maybe Grogu either getting one from someone or making his own, possibly.
Yeah, I agree. I like the idea of if we see anything, it's going to be Grogu's. I don't know. I still I'm tainted by all of the just numb positive reviews from everyone of just being like, this is such a good movie.
Yeah.
You'll really like it. So like I don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
I don't know, but probably not. I'm leaning towards no, but if they've never not shown one in a movie, why break that?
Well, I mean, I'm assuming, and again, this is just off the top of my head. I haven't really thought too deep into it, but the only show that doesn't either is Andor.
Yep.
So that was fairly recently too. But
Yeah.
I mean, if they can pull off a movie without a lightsaber, as well as they pulled off a show without a lightsaber, because Andor is beloved by most.
Yeah.
Most.
Should be.
And Boar. We've heard it before.
Yeah.
No, Andor's beloved by most. But it has no lightsabers. So if Mandalorian Grogu can have no lightsabers and be successful, then we're in a good spot. Because
That's true.
I mean, I was going to say Starfighter, but we've heard plenty of lightsabers in that movie. Tom Cruise filming a scene with lightsabers, like crazy stuff about Starfighter. But when a movie's called Starfighter, you assume no lightsabers. So maybe, I guess not that. But if Mandalorian Grogu can be successful without a lightsaber, that's pretty good. Nick?
I think I'm leaning towards no, but we did kind of go out of our way a few times to do some flashbacks for Grogu to help us out with who he is.
True.
And
66.
yeah, if now, we got those when we were all already invested in the lore and stuff. Now you have probably as many people coming to see this that didn't watch The Mandalorian that did.
Yeah.
And maybe it'd be good to, I don't know, if they keep going down that path. I mean, we got several Order 66 flashbacks in like a year span from multiple shows that help tie Grogu's thing together. So depending on whether or not they would throw a flashback into a Star Wars movie again with the first one that they're coming out with for a while, maybe we could, but I don't know if current events would do it. Maybe like a random like thing to technically have a lightsaber in it, but I don't see it being useful unless there's some crazy cameo that we don't know about. But
well, I did see a couple reviews yesterday that were saying that Stinky the Hutt or Rada the Hutt's story was very emotional. And I was like, why would we use the word emotional with that? But when you're talking about why he is the way that he is, why he's a gladiator, sort of away from all that he grew up with, which is the criminal underworld. Why is he that way? Like, might be talking because we got the father and son dynamic of Din and Grogu, but the father and son dynamic of Jabba and his son. So maybe getting like a bad backstory or flashback to how bad of a dad Jabba was and how that shaped Rada. You could be like, well, Rada's telling that story, pan to Grogu and be like, I got a crazy story to tell you. My dad's Yoda. and reveal that in the movie. Still, we've had Grogu for what now 7 years almost, and we don't know that. Like, you assume that yes, Grogu's got to be the child of the only other same species we've seen in Star Wars, but it's never actually been confirmed. So you assume it's Yoda, but that hasn't actually ever been said or revealed. I guess it would take somebody who knew Yoda to tell us, but we've already seen Ahsoka who knew Yoda, and she mentions Yoda, but we never got that confirmed. It would be crazy if this movie did that.
I got A theory from Holly here. She
Here we
says,
go.
"Okay, I have a crazy theory. I think Lord Janu is going to have some Yasilamari, and that's where Thrawn will get them. So that's
Ooh,
the
you
little
saw- yeah.
dragon thing that he wears. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah, so in Legends, the Yusalamari, it's like a little lizard, puts it on his shoulder, and it repels the Force. That's why Thrawn, who's a non-Force user, can compete with Force users, with Luke and Mara and Leia and others in Legends. So that would be wild. He's talking because she brings that up because Lord Janu in a recent trailer says, "I've collected all the most dangerous creatures in the galaxy."
Right.
Those are the chess pieces from the Millennium Falcon, hollow chess pieces. So if the Yusalamari is introduced in this movie, that would be pretty crazy because that would explain how Thrawn's going to go. Well, Thrawn has a army of Night Sisters now, so that kind of can compete with Force users. But if Thrawn's going toe to toe with Ezra, he's done. Luke, he's done. Ahsoka, he's done. Anybody with the Force and a lightsaber, he doesn't have the Force or a lightsaber. But if he has that little lizard on his shoulder, like he does in Legends, then he can compete.
nice.
I like that.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
You
Thanks,
guys
Holly.
good with that one?
We'll
Yeah.
see you tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll see Holly tomorrow.
Yeah.
50 Thunderer asks, "What does everyone think the fate of the N1 ship is?"
Well, that's a good one because the N1 Starfighter is nowhere to be seen. He's getting a new Razor Crest. I like it. I like the Razor Crest. I like the M1 Starfighter more. Do you like the M1 Starfighter?
It's great.
Yeah,
It's great. I
that's a no.
no. I don't. I like everything. At this point, I like everything I've seen.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can't have opinions on anything until after the movie. I'm just happy that it's going to be in theaters. I'm happy to be seeing it again. Like, you can put anything in there for the most part. I'm going to be like, this is great. I'm just happy to be here.
There you go.
Yeah.
But do you think the N1 will be, I guess, used or destroyed, or like we don't even know because he's getting a new Razor Crest. We know
Right.
that.
Right.
And that's probably because he's going to be lugging a hut around or something, and he can't do that in the M1 Starfighter. But like, will it be destroyed? I don't know.
Yeah, because in the first part there, he's with Zeb. He's with Zeb in that ship.
In the U-wing, yeah.
The U-wing. So that'll be interesting. Yeah, I wonder if we'll see it on a Delphi base when they come back at some point. Maybe we'll get it, and he goes back to Navarro, and then Embo comes in, blows that up, and then they do a different. But yeah,
maybe he just kept it in his garage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, Nick, you got any? What do you think?
Yeah, maybe it's on Navarro. Like, I don't know. Was that where it was last kept?
When we saw it in season 3,
when we saw it, yeah. So I don't know. I think the Razor Crest is starting to make a little more sense, right? When we first saw it, in some of the teased images, it was like, well, what happens to the N1? Well, for the job he's getting, he definitely can't use the N1. So it kind of, is making sense of what he's doing. But yeah, I don't know. I would assume he probably still has it. I could see another character in the show flying it while he flies the Razor Crest.
Yeah.
Grogu
Grogu becomes a pilot.
Yep, fly them both around and given the situation. Do I think it'll be blown up or anything? I don't know. I don't think so.
Well, I guess my theory on why it could be destroyed is because we see Embo in the trailer and we think he's on Navarro. So if he's going to capture Din, then I guess in theory he would want to destroy his escape. Right. So he would come in and destroy the ship that he could escape in, and then he just goes and tries to capture Din after that. So that would be the only reason I see it get destroyed. Because other than that, yeah, it's just like he has another car in the shop, like he's just hanging on to.
Is there have we ever talked about, a little bit of a sidebar here, but has anyone talked about if Embo is there to return Din to the huts after maybe not succeeding at his job with Rada?
I think the job is to go get Rada and bring him back to the twins.
Right.
But I don't think Rada's going to want to go back to the twins. Yeah. So it's going to be a failed mission in their eyes, and then they'll have to come get Din because of that. Yeah.
And that might be Embo's purpose or something like that.
Well, I think the New Republic will get what they wanted, which is information on this Imperial warlord. But the twins won't get what they wanted, which was Rada.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Because
then
they talk about how he was captured and he's there, and
Against his
right,
will.
against his
Yeah.
will. And you get there and he's in there fighting and, having a
Having a
good old
blast,
time,
yeah.
So that'll be interesting when the two of them talk, when Din and Rada talk, to see what's going on. Cause I think that's when you're going to get that sort of maybe explanation of what went on in his family, with his dad and the two and the twins.
And it could also just be a matter of Din ending up capturing who he needs to, so he doesn't need info from the Hutts anymore. He's got his guy, so it's the point is moot. But the Hutts are pissed. So I don't know if
I wonder if honestly they could bring in more bounty hunters, because if you think about it, Embo obviously going to get Din, but they could have sent multiple bounty hunters to go get him that failed, and then Embo's the one that succeeds. Like we could see a bunch of, like in season 1 of Mando, you get a ton of bounty hunters, but like they're just nobodies. They're new characters. You could get a couple new character bounty hunters that go in to try and kill Din, and he's like, nope. But then Embo shows up because, again, it's telling the audience who's never seen this character before that he's the real deal, and he's better than these other ones who failed. So you can see a little bit of Din Djarin being like, nope, you guys aren't good enough for me. But then Embo succeeds, and you're like, okay, this Embo guy is the real deal for fans who've never met him before.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then that last trailer that we got with about a half a second.
Yeah, half second of them fighting.
And the two of them fighting is just going to be awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
What else we got, Nick?
Nathan says, my theory is that there will be hints at Grogu's blood will be the plot of the movie, and Project Necromancer could be the plot. Your thoughts?
Well, I kind of just said the opposite earlier. But I will say that is definitely something that will be a plot moving forward. It's still the end goal is that Palpatine returns. And I think Grogu has a part in that, clearly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
I would like to see it. I don't think it's going to happen because, again, I think that's a lot of lore to tie into such a
short movie.
Yeah, it's not that short, but it's like family friendly. It's supposed to be kind of, I think, for the most part, light and fun. And getting into cloning and all of that would be a lot. I'm so excited though for when they get more into it. I do want to see it, but I don't think in this one.
I like the idea that his blood created Snoke.
Yeah.
Because Grogu's this tiny little creature and Snoke's a giant.
Yeah.
So it's like his blood created a giant, and it would just be pretty funny.
Yeah.
Nick?
Yeah. So I'm just not convinced that the Mandalorian story is done after this movie. So I think, Favreau saying season 4 is in his desk probably means something.
Yeah.
In which case, I think that'll be more of the area of expertise for the Necromancer thing. I also think it's important to note that Necromancer didn't work, right? So at best, it made a Snoke, and he's on critical countdown time, needing Kylo Ren to kind of help him out and figure it out.
And he is powerful, though. He is powerful.
Yeah,
he is. I'm just saying, Snoke is really powerful. At best, it worked to make a new thing. It did not work as Project Necromancer to allow Palpatine to just immediately resurrect himself.
Yeah, he's not pretty.
And he got pretty lucky. Got pretty lucky that he happened to have a Dyad and the Force standing in front of him and kind of accidentally came back to life. You know what I'm saying? So
I do hope that they mention it just briefly somewhere. I think I would be disappointed if they don't mention any of the cloning stuff at all in this movie.
Yeah.
Just give one line. That would be enough for me. All right, they're still thinking about it. It's still happening. I do really want to see it.
Yeah, because we're coming across a bunch of different Imperial Remnant sort of Shadow Council members, I guess.
Yeah.
If we're coming across them, that's all they were talking about was cloning and all that. So if they're talking about it, then they should still be talking about it.
Yeah.
I also think the audience might need to be informed of why the Empire cares about Grogu, right?
Yes.
If they don't know already. So that might be like you guys were saying, quick line of, well, they actually are trying to do some weird projects on him, and then maybe you get more from the Shadow Council on what. But I think that's about it.
That's a great sentence that you just said there, or theory, or whatever you want to call it, because they are going to have to and know what's going on with Grogu and why everybody wants him or what was going on with this bounty. Because like John says, you don't have to know what's going on. You didn't have to watch The Mandalorian for 3 seasons to figure out this movie. So I think you guys are both correct. We're going to have some sort of information about that, or just what's going on, or why they want Grogu. And again, we've talked about this before. It doesn't take very long.
No.
It takes a sentence or two or 30 seconds to explain a story, and then boom, we're good to go. We know exactly what's going
They
on.
did that in
Mhm.
Shadow Lord quite a bit.
Yes.
Like all of the
Oh,
key
perfect.
plot
Yes.
points, briefly, quickly. That's it.
Yeah.
Set everything up.
Yeah, because again, it was the same thing with the Mandalorian Grogu that was with Maul. Was you don't have to watch anything, don't have to know anything about these characters to still understand. And they do. They introduce Maul like as a new character almost
Yeah.
in that show, and they're probably going to do the same with Din and Grogu. We kind of saw it in the first 10 minutes where they introduced them sort of as Din being all badass with an entrance, and then Grogu using the Force with an entrance to
Yeah.
show you right away this guy's badass. This guy uses the Force. And tell you about these characters if you've never met them before.
Yeah.
You guys in the chat, we're still doing Q&As regarding The Mandalorian and Grogu. So please, whatever you got for us as far as your thoughts, your theories, any questions for us before the movie premieres tomorrow. We got about, what do you say, around like 15, 20 minutes left?
Maybe about 10 or 15, because we
Okay,
do want to
so-
get Thalia's, let her talk for a little bit, and we get out of here. But I want to bring up, I got to bring this one up. Where is was it Chopper that said
Oh yeah, right here.
read
How
that
many
one.
How many burritos can you fit in an N1 starfighter?
At least 4.
Yeah.
I don't know, a lot, but you're making me hungry, Chopper. Yeah, that's a great question.
That's awesome. And
Maybe Embo will try.
Exactly. He's had that.
Well,
Was it that last week? He said something about that as well.
That was me.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. You brought that
I brought
question
it
up. Yeah.
I said, how many
All right.
how many sandwiches could you fit inside a Honda Odyssey?
Oh yeah. We got another one from 50 Thunderer.
Let's
If
hear it.
what's his name is a collector of all most vicious creatures in the galaxy, do you think we may see a can you help me with that one? Dianoga trash compactor monster.
Oh.
Oh,
That'd be interesting. I mean, we don't really see that monster in Empire. You just see its little
right.
tail.
And it's in water. So does it live in the water as
Yes.
well?
Mhm.
Well, we are going to see a dragon snake in this, and the dragon snake was on Dagobah. It's the snake that
Right.
pulls R2 under in Empire. So maybe something like that would be cool. I think
Mhm.
it's not just going to be the chess pieces. Like those are obviously the monsters we see in the trailers, but there could be some others there as well too. Yeah. Somebody brought up, what if they bring in the Mythosaur, because that's a legendary creature, but the Mythosaurs are supposed to be extinct. The only one we know of is because Bo-Katan sees it in season 3.
Right.
So that's a no. That's a great question, though. Do you guys think we'll see the Mythosaur in this movie? Because they set it up in season 3 like it was going to be this big deal, and then we didn't get any of it.
He did a lot of work.
A lot of work
They
for it.
did.
And Grogu even senses it in the final episode when he
Yeah.
becomes adopted by Din. Do you guys think we'll see a Mythosaur?
If we do, I think that could be like an ending as well, sort of like they did,
tease.
a tease to something that will help them when Thrawn does come, and when they have to go fight Thrawn again. That could be somebody that comes, or they could get that to help them along with the Ghost Crew and Boba and things like that. But it's interesting because that's a huge creature.
Yeah.
So it would be difficult, I think, to bring it into the Mandalorian and Grogu in just this. If we had another season of 7.5, 8 hours total, yeah, I think we could do that. But for 2.5 hours, I think they're just going to have to get into the meat and potatoes, explain things to the normie fans, or the people that don't know what's going on with this movie yet, and then go through and get us to the point where now we have an idea of what's going on, help us with a little bit with Ahsoka, and then possibly even a cliffhanger for Dave's movies.
The other feedback I've seen from these people who have seen the movie is that actually I have commonly seen them say it's like 10 to 20 to 30 minutes too long.
Really?
Yes,
Really?
I've seen that a few times. They said it. They felt it could be shorter, which makes me think we're not going to get these deep pulls again to like stuff that needs a lot of
Yeah.
explaining. Because if they did these deep pulls, then why would you want it to be shorter? I don't know. I mean, why would you want it to? I don't know. We don't know. We haven't seen it yet.
Well, what I've heard, I heard somebody compare it to Return of the Jedi, actually, where Return of the Jedi, sort of the first act and the last act are very quick and action packed. It's the beginning part of Jabba's palace, the whole Jabba's sail barge, all that stuff, the Sarlacc pit, and then the final act is the second Death Star.
Yeah.
It's the whole Battle of Endor. And the second act is sort of shorter, slower. It's them planning to go to Endor. It's Luke going to watch Yoda die. It's more of a slower, drawn out stuff. And I've heard that might be the part where the middle of the movie has 20 or 30. It's slower. It's like the second act is a little slower. But so that might be what they're talking about, is the middle act is a little slow. But usually when that happens, like that's stuff that needs to happen and needs to be explained. Like the whole middle act of Return of the Jedi is a lot to explain and confirm that Vader is indeed his father. Because Luke is like, is he actually my dad? And Yoda's like, I'm gonna die now. And then he's like, Obi-Wan, is he actually my dad? And he's like, from a certain point of view. And then he's like, oh my god, I kissed my sister. No, so that's sort of how I think that this movie would maybe be a little long.
But I love that. I love that. Like long.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would be disappointed if it was all just killing and action.
I
Like
know.
I want like.
Yeah.
Let's talk. Let's build the lore. Like
Yeah, we do. Yes, exactly. Build the lore.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you have to have. And I think the people that are talking about it like that aren't fans like we are. They're like, I was a little bit slower. All I wanted to do, I just wanted some action, get in, get out, and be done with it all the time.
Well, I was saying this before we started, actually, before you got here. I was reading the review that said, and again, it's critics. So it's not like diehard Star Wars fans. It's just critics. And one guy said, can somebody please put Star Wars out of its misery? And I said, clearly you weren't around for Maul Shadowlord a week ago, or just 12 months ago, or less than 12 months ago. So yeah, Star Wars is out of its misery. It's dying. It's dying.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you have two of the greatest projects in the last calendar year, it's a pretty good spot.
Yeah. Do we got any other questions in there?
Right here. Fede Jin says, I wondered if they'd say the same about the extended Return of the King. I think maybe that one is, if it's too long, I might just take that one. It might be that the story this movie is about gets kind of wrapped up and maybe we spend more time than we need, right? Yeah. Like it could be any direction. It could be not enough action from people who didn't pick up on the lore stuff, or not enough lore for people like us. And so the sort of in and out Mando adventures, we've seen a lot of them. Maybe it's just like too long. Who knows?
To be fair, that's a tough balance for them to hit.
Yeah, you're balancing a fan who's never seen Star Wars versus a fan who's seen Star Wars for the last 50 years.
Yeah, that's tough. I don't envy the writers, the producers. That's a really difficult job.
Yeah. So, I mean, it could be all over the place for people's reasoning. But I think it's the right length. I'm surprised if it's its own thing, this movie, and it's not, Mandoverse branches and roots going everywhere. If it's its own thing, I'm actually surprised it is that long, that it is almost 2.5 hours. And obviously a lot of that's credits, but do
we know if there's a cut scene at the end?
Post-credit scene?
Yeah.
I don't know, but it would be the first time ever for a movie.
Right.
There is one in Mando season 2 for the Book of Boba Fett, but there's never been one for a movie. So it's a great question. I mean,
they also have never put up the names of people in the beginning.
Yes, they do that.
They do that in this one too. So it's a little bit different, and they're not doing the scroll this time. It's just the sentences that pop up and sort of give you an idea of what's going on in the beginning.
So when George did the original trilogy, he was told by the studio that he has to have, because every movie does it, the opening credits, which is like the title of the movie and then main actor, director, and writers, or whatever it is. And he was like, nope, not doing that. So he actually took a fine for that. I forget how much the fine was, but he took a fine for that. and he did the opening crawl instead and was like, I'm not putting any actors' names at the beginning of my movie. And that's how Star Wars has always been until this movie. Like it's gonna say the Mandalorian and Grogu, and then Pedro Pascal and
Jeremy. It's
Jeremy Allen White and
Wow.
the two other actors who bring Din Djarin to life, Brendan Wayne and Lateef Crowder. So that's gonna actually happen in this movie. An opening crawl, it's not like you saw. It's just the words like Rogue One or Solo. I don't know if Rogue One does it. But yeah, post credit scene. I don't know. I mean, your guys' guess is as good as mine. I don't think so because they've never done it before, but they did it with the Mandalorian show.
Yep. Yeah, we might have. We got time for maybe one more. If you got one up there, Nick.
Let's get one in there. We have more so like comments right now. One more question would be great.
Hey, Fearless. Fearless just jumped
What's
on.
up, Fearless? Got any questions for us? We got time for one more.
Uno mas.
Let me see here. I might have missed one. Oh, here's 50 Thunderer. We've been clicking you a lot today. Thank you for your participation. Any Force Ghosts? Uncle Yoda checking in on his little nephew.
Yoda Force Ghost would be crazy.
I would love a Force Ghost.
That would be crazy.
I would love a Force Ghost.
Well, from I guess our new understanding of Force Ghosts from Kenobi and from Ahsoka is you kind of have to be really tapped into the Force and have an emotional connection to that person.
Yeah.
And Nick has brought this up before too, where in the original trilogy, Luke in the first movie doesn't see Obi-Wan, but as he becomes more powerful with the Force, he begins to see him in Empire. And then by the time of Return of the Jedi, he's very in tune with the Force, and Obi-Wan's now a very clear picture. And then I guess in Ahsoka, you see a similar thing where Ahsoka's going through a lot in her mind. She doesn't want to train Sabine. She's worried about Anakin. So she doesn't see Anakin until the very end of the show. Same with Kenobi. He's tapped away from the Force, and then he taps back in. And by the end of the show, he sees his master, Qui-Gon. So from that point of view, or from that understanding of the Force Ghosts, the only person who could see one would be Grogu. And the only person I think he would see would be Yoda, if it's his dad. But that would be like somebody would have to be talking about that.
Yeah. Well, my thing is if we do see one, or does Grogu get a vision, and is it Yoda that's talking to him? That's what I sort of saw a couple things, but that's the only thing I can think that where we might see some sort of Force ghost or a vision or a voice from someone like that. But Dahlia?
Yeah, no, I think seeing a lightsaber is more likely than a Force ghost in this movie. And I don't think seeing a lightsaber is going to be super likely unless, again, we see a flashback scene that would fit it in.
Yep. Nick?
Yeah, I think Force Ghost is a little unlikely. I think weird Force stuff is somewhat likely.
Like a Bendu.
Yeah. Well, like the only reason I have for that is the clip we've all mentioned is him meditating, presumably on a log in the woods. It looks very tranquil. I don't think they would perch him up there just to be cute. I think it'd be a similar scenario as when he's on the rock in the Seeing Stone.
Yeah.
Maybe he's like force timing with Luke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He could be. So I think that is more the case. And if by some chance a vision or maybe communication with someone who may be a Force ghost happens, then I could see it happening. But
Yeah. Well, to that point though, like you mentioned, it was like Rey earlier, Force meditating like that. When Rey's doing that, she's trying to get in touch with all the Jedi. She's saying, "Be with me, be with me, be with me," and then they finally are at the end of the movie. But we don't really see people meditating like that much without having some sort of Force vision or communication with somebody. When Yoda's meditating in Phantom Menace, no, Attack of the Clones. Yeah, Attack of the Clones. When Anakin's going to kill all the Tuskens, and Yoda's meditating, you can sense that through the Force. And then you hear Qui-Gon say, "Anakin, no," and all that great stuff. So maybe Grogu is trying to sense like Din or something, and he's somehow overhearing their conversation. Or again, Force timing with Luke would be awesome. But yeah, he's not sitting there for no reason. Yeah. And he did sit on the Seeing Stone. Like Grogu's had a crazy life. Order 66 survivor, like trained with the Jedi Temple. He's sat on the Seeing Stone on Tython. Like,
I also think like if this were season 4, for example, we might one day get more about like Keller and Beck. And I don't think they did a Keller and Beck comic for no reason,
Yeah.
or you know, all that kind of stuff. And so if that is the dude that Grogu has like a attachment relationship
That would be
prior
cool.
to Din, then one day I could see maybe some more clips through the forest with that, but not in this movie, in my opinion.
You got to assume that Kelleran's dead at this point just because Grogu hasn't tried to reconnect with him. you
Right.
know?
Yeah. All right. Well, we have to wrap things up. Thanks to everybody for the time change and coming on here. We're live in Boston tomorrow. We're all going to go see this movie, which is super exciting. But I do want to let Thalia have the floor for a minute and let us know your media and what you have out there and where people can find you.
Sure. Thank you so much. And thanks again so much for inviting me on. This is so fun. I am Astrology Jedi on TikTok and Instagram. And all I do in my platform is explain astrology through Star Wars, because Star Wars has very extreme, exaggerated characters. And it's a really good starting point to introduce people to astrology. Like, most of us in real life don't know anyone as scary as Anakin, thankfully. But he's a really good archetype to talk about when we look at astrology, and same with Maul and all of that. So even if you're new to astrology, I do make all my content in mind for somebody who's new to it or someone who understands it quite a bit. But for some reason, it's just when I watch Star Wars, all I see is astrology. So I love both of them very much. So that's what I focus a lot of my content on. But yeah.
Awesome.
That's really cool. Isn't Shin Hati and Bale and Skull like based off of some sort of astrology or something?
I have heard about this. I've heard about this. Yeah. And I don't know. For everyone, I have gotten feedback before. People have been like, well, how can you know their astrology? None of these characters were born on Earth. And I'm like, yeah, I know. But I've gotten that comment
There's
quite a
also
bit.
no sound in space.
It's insane. So yes, I know. We're working off archetypes here.
Yeah.
But it's weird. George Lucas was weird, and he created something really cool. And this is like not to his level of genius, but it's weird. And yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And for anyone who's wondering, Din is a Taurus, and I think he's a Cancer moon. People are gonna know what that means. Some people watching, I think they're gonna know what that means.
Nice.
And also, I think Grogu is a Cancer, and interestingly enough, I think he has a Taurus moon. So I think that's why their synastry works so well together.
Interesting.
I don't know what any of that means, but it sounds awesome.
Yeah. I know. I haven't asked for your birth charts or your.
We'll have you on for sure
Yeah.
as a guest.
Yeah.
One Wednesday we'll have you on, or even we'll just do a podcast and record it for sure, because we have a bunch of interviews in there. So we do have to wrap it up and get going. But thanks everybody for being on here. I'm on that camera there. Thank you all for joining us. Star Wars Jedi Chat podcast. Mike, Thalia, Nick, thanks for running some stuff. The people here, thank you guys so much for running our stuff for us. We will be, don't forget Mike tomorrow at 2:00 Eastern.
Yeah.
A guy who loves Star Wars, and then we'll be going to the movie tomorrow night.
Yeah.
So
crazy.
it'll be interesting to see what's up. We're looking forward to all your guys' theories and your mic drops and things like that. So put them in the comments, and thank you again for being here. That's about it. I don't have any fun things to shoot out into, but thank you guys for being here. And let's see. Can we put Nick up there one more time? There he is. Bye, Nick. Thank you for everything.
Thank you, guys.
And, may the force be with everybody, and we'll see you on the next Star Wars Jedi Chat podcast. May the force be with you.